Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the September 28th episode of Sports Hour. I'm your host, Trevor Hauer, and with me, Sarah Gordon. We're going to do some AFC, NFC, and then later on we'll have Topher to cover some baseball. So, Sarah, week 3 of the NFL season's already done. Well, you can see what I'm wearing right now. I obviously have some emotions how I'm feeling right now, but Bills came off a dominant victory over the Washington No-Names. I called this game the murder without a name because they are still called the Washington football team.
It's ridiculous. It really is.
But either way, whatever you want to call them, whatever name they would have been called this season, the Bills still destroyed them 43-21. What did you think about this game?
I mean, it was just so much fun to watch. Being a Bills fan, obviously. If you're Washington, not fun. But being myself, it was a very fun game to watch. And this just returned us back to what the Bills were last year. Like at the end of the season, this is how we saw the Bills at the end of the season. And
Absolutely.
It was so much fun to see them back in kind of, I think they hopefully have got their groove back now.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
I mean, for sure. It started off super early for Buffalo, winning. They were up like 21-0, I believe, in the first half. Or at least it was in first quarter was 14-0. I think the second quarter was 21-0. And then they kind of took their foot off the gas. They allowed Antonio Gibson to get a 73-yard score.
Yeah, the very end of the second quarter.
Yeah, I think that was what it was. Taylor Heineke, I think, ran for a touchdown, I'm pretty sure. But then as soon as Buffalo got that extra touchdown, it was just over from there. And they were just putting those guys away. Emmanuel Sanders looked great on Sunday.
Yes, he did. I know. That's one of the things I was missing, I think, in the first two games. They didn't get Sanders enough, honestly. But this game, they were getting passes to him. He had that one great touchdown.
Yep.
So I think this was the first game where we really saw what role he's going to play in this team.
Yeah. And in case you had any concerns, I think the Buffalo Bills are back. And just look at this play right here. Allen just dropping back. He's got a lot of time, running away from pressure, across his body to the corner of the end zone. What a catch by Emmanuel Sanders. I believe that was his first touchdown as a Bill.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on that one. I mean, and what a great way to start it.
And then this one the beginning of the second quarter, it's just too easy. They make it look so easy. Zach Moss gets in for a touchdown. So I guess it was 7-0 after one. And then later on in the second quarter, it was 21-0. Here's another play, though. Second and goal, 4:47 to go. Allen, so much time to throw the ball. Finds him in the opposite corner of the end zone for a touchdown. They make it look so easy. I don't know if it's the fact that the Bills' offense is super good or just Washington's defense just did not come to play.
Yeah, but I think it was a combination. We really kind of saw the Bills' offense definitely step it up this week. We didn't see as much of the tension and I guess the nerves that Josh Allen had the first 2 weeks. He was on the money this game. He really was getting those in the pocket well and running for the touchdown. He got me 100 points for my fantasy team. So he was doing good, and the whole rest of the offense, everyone was just on their game this time. And
you can't say enough good things about that offensive line. From those 3 clips that we just saw, Josh Allen had at least 5 seconds to get rid of the football. And he's super mobile. He could run across his body and make the catches or make the complete passes in the end zone for a touchdown. Like, Josh Allen is an anomaly.
Yes.
Like, if Brett Favre or somebody were to do that, and this is not knocking on Brett Favre, but if he were to throw across his body, it would always get intercepted. If Peyton Manning did that, he would never be able to do that because he wasn't mobile. But Josh Allen is an anomaly when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I think the Bills are in a good spot. That week 1, that was just knocking rust off. The Steelers won that game. I think they got a little bit lucky with the officiating in that game, by the way, but Buffalo's 2-1 now, and that was just a complete domination of the Washington football team.
Absolutely. And I think this is going to be a very, very big indication of what Buffalo is going to do this season. And, I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens from here with them.
Yeah, great things for the Bills right now. You can't say enough good things. And this goes into our next game. The Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions. I honestly thought going into this game, it would be a complete blowout. Like, Lamar Jackson would go in and destroy those guys in their home stadium. And Jared Goff, the offense kind of, they weren't there I mean, the score was 19-17, the final score.
Yeah.
But it was a battle of the defenses. Like, the Detroit Lions defense came to play. Mm-hmm. It's not like Lamar Jackson looked great or Jared Goff looked great or anything like that, but the Ravens, they barely pulled one out of Detroit. And it came to a game-winning 66-yard field goal, which is an NFL record as of right now.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker, arguably the number one kicker in this league. I think he's always been a solid number 2 kicker back when Vinatieri was still playing. But since he's been retired, it's just been the Justin Tucker show. He's known for hitting those clutch field goals and getting those game-winning plays. But 66 yards out, I remember watching the end of that game, and they were like, what do you think they're going to do, throw a Hail Mary to the end zone, or are they going to attempt a 66-yard field goal? And they ended up going for it, and it bounced off the crossbar and through. But there was a lot of controversy in that game as well, as I believe, what was it? Somebody threw it out of bounds. I think Lamar threw it out of bounds, and he had no time left on the clock. Should have been a delay of game, no time on the play clock. That would have set them back 5 more yards, and they had to attempt a 72-yard field goal at that point, which I don't think they would have done in the first place. But Lions fans feel gypped after this one, and I think they might be right, because the play clock was down at 0 for at least 2 seconds, and then they got the opportunity to throw it out of bounds and then kick a game-winning field goal. It was a spectacular play by Tucker, but I mean, I don't think he should have gotten that opportunity in the first place.
Yeah, it definitely was one of those situations where, you know, you have all these people not necessarily arguing, but you just got, I guess, too many cooks in the kitchen, and you try to decide like who's making the right call and whether or not they have that extra time or not. So I think this is one that's going to stick with Detroit for sure.
Yeah,
it's really going to sting.
Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Lions, was on the sideline just ripping that referee apart.
Yeah.
It was insane, and I think he did get. I think the Lions, oftentimes they get the short end of the stick from the referees. It's kind of been like a thing with Lions fans. It's like, oh, it's us versus the other team and versus the refs every single week. I think in that point, Justin Tucker shouldn't even gotten that opportunity, but that was a heck of a kick he had.
It was.
It's NFL record. He passed, I believe it was Sebastian Janikowski. The record was 65 yards, and now it's 66. Just a complete beast, Justin Tucker is.
Amazing.
But it was a good game. 19-17. If you like good defensive games, that was definitely the game for you.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
the Ravens kind of did shock the Lions, which is surprisingly to say. And in this next game, the Browns against the Chicago Bears. And something really funny that came out of this game was Justin Fields, I believe, what was it, the second half, had 1 passing yard in the second half. They were getting dominated at the line of scrimmage. Their running game was non-existent. Justin Fields looked completely lost, and the Browns pulled this one out 26-6.
I know. You just look at the numbers for the Bears this time, and Justin Fields had a total of 68 passing yards at the end of the game. And even Montgomery had 10 carries, 34 yards only. And it's just the numbers were just not there for the team this time around.
When was the last time you saw the Cleveland Browns dominate the line of scrimmage? Like, they're usually the ones that get dunked on by these rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But they came to play. Heck of a performance from Baker Mayfield, too. He didn't have to do much, obviously, because the Bears' defense was just non-existent. But the running game was working. Odell Beckham Jr. came back from injury. And the Browns, they look like a decent team. We thought they looked good last year. I think they look even better right now.
I would have to agree with you. And I think that they're going to be, I think they're one of the underdogs that are, you know, one of those teams that are going to maybe shock some people. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. But that's definitely a team that you don't want to take your eye off of.
And if they held on to the lead against the Chiefs, we would have been looking at a 3-0 Cleveland Browns team. This is a scary team to look out for by the time the playoffs come around. I wouldn't count them out of anything right now. Cleveland's got some decent players finally for once, after 19 years of just going through another starting quarterback every single year, going through suffering. The Browns are looking very good right now.
I agree.
It's good for them and their fans. They've been loyal for so long. And so that was the Browns and the Bears. This next one, I don't know why we keep going through this every single week, but But it is a three-ring circus going on in the Circle City of Indianapolis. It really is, by the owner, the general manager, and the head coach not taking accountability. Titans took this game over the Colts 25-16, and the Titans defense was very good, especially inside the red zone. I don't know if they're very good inside the red zone or if the Colts just are 3 for 8, I found out, scoring in the red zone, which is less than 50%. Absolutely terrible. Carson Wentz was playing out there with 2 sprained ankles, not 1, but 2 sprained ankles. And overall, he just couldn't move in the pocket. The offense couldn't get anything going. The defense won the turnover battle 3-0 and still lost by 2 possessions. We're back with this again, guys. See this?
Every week.
Do you guys see this? Watch this. Hey, Carson Wentz, you better take some accountability. Frank Reich, Chris Ballard, Jim Irsay. Take some accountability for how bad your team is. You're 0-3 for the first time since you were tanking for Andrew Luck. Okay?
Oh, man.
Since 2011, they haven't been 0-3. You have a starting quarterback that's established, and you're 0-3. 1-13 without T.Y. Hilton, I might add. So, good stuff out of Indianapolis. I'm super confident that they can beat their former quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, next week. I'm not confident at all. He's going to ball on the Colts next week. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we might. This was the hat trick of hat throws. We might be going to 4.
Yeah.
We might.
if Jacoby Brissett balls on the Colts, I will find 4 hats and throw them all at the same time. That's what we'll do. Mm-hmm. And I mean, hey, he forced overtime against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. So, and the Raiders are undefeated.
Yes, they are.
Don't be surprised when Jacoby throws 275 yards and 4 touchdowns on that amazing Colts defense. 25-16.
I shouldn't laugh, but it's just so funny coming on here. So every week so far, and we have to do this.
Defense is not the number one problem, though. They're getting turnovers. It's the offense that can't score more than 20 points a game. Mm-hmm. So that's our main problem. And it says on our sheet here, I'm sorry, Trevor. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to apologize to me. You can take it to the owner that owns this franchise.
I will personally do that just for you, so I don't have to write "I'm sorry, Trevor" in the script.
I wonder what it's going to say when they lose to Miami next week. I wonder what that's going to say.
Just wait. We'll keep you audience updated. Don't worry.
It's all good stuff coming from your Colts fan over here. Let's get into a game that's a lot better that I actually predicted this to happen. The Los Angeles Chargers beating the Kansas City Chiefs 30-24. I had the Chargers in an upset, and they didn't disappoint. They won by 6. I believe the Chiefs were favored by 4.5 points. And Justin Herbert looks like an established quarterback. He looks great.
Yeah, those Chargers, they've got it really going right now. They've got the Justin Herbert on as quarterback, obviously, having 281 yards and 4 touchdowns that game.
Great.
And just really great. And then of course Eckler with carrying the ball, just moving them down the field. Keenan Allen.
Absolute baller.
Yep, absolutely. They've really got it going on right now. And obviously we saw it. They beat Kansas City.
And if I'm the Dolphins, though, I'm kicking myself for not drafting Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That would have made the AFC East battle a whole lot better. You see Zach Wilson versus Mac Jones versus Josh Allen versus Justin Herbert. That would be so much better. But he's obviously found his groove. I almost said San Diego. Again, it's just a force of habit. In Los Angeles, in SoFi Stadium, the $1 billion stadium, and I messed it up. But, wow, they are 2-1, and the Chiefs are 1-2. This is insane.
Insanity. It really is.
Patrick Mahomes has a losing record. Yeah, I think the sky is falling down, honestly.
I know.
I'm not sure what's going on here.
And then, their head coach then went to the hospital that day. That was very scary news. And
yeah, we hope Andy Reid's all right. I think he is.
I think they said he was cleared and he's back at practice now, but still, it's like a scare. I don't know if it's just stress or something.
I think he's getting flashbacks from his old Eagles days, back from 2011.
It's possible.
I would have been scared too to have Patrick Mahomes go out there and go 1-2, but their season's not done by any means.
No.
So if there are any Chief fans out there like Aaron, shout out to Aaron, by the way, Chief fans.
We miss you, Aaron.
The sky is not falling down, actually. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback, top 3 quarterback in the league. everything will be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, and they went to the Super Bowl back-to-back years, won one. So, hey, maybe this is their opportunity to maybe give another AFC team the chance, like maybe the Bills.
Go Bills.
To go to the Super Bowl.
Bo Gills.
Or maybe the Colts. Who are we kidding?
That's
Who are we
funny.
kidding?
Not this year, buddy.
But the Chargers end up winning this game. I
Yeah.
felt so proud of myself that I bet them to win this game. And especially since, like, it's a great divisional matchup. And it can go either way. But we haven't seen the Chargers beat the Chiefs in a while. So this has to be a huge confidence boost for Justin Herbert.
Absolutely.
And let's talk some more about the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders beating the Dolphins in overtime in a really back and forth OT. The Raiders got the ball first. I believe it was 25-25 at the time. They kicked a field goal to go up by 3. Dolphins went back down the field, led by Jacoby Brissett, Obi-Wan Jacoby, great guy, great quarterback, to kick a tying field goal. And then with no time left, the Raiders kick a game-winning field goal to win 31-28. And what do you think about Jacoby Brissett in this game?
I mean, I think he definitely played well, and I think he could be a good quarterback for the Dolphins. And we'll have to see how it plays out with Tua, but I think he did well, and definitely, obviously, they held their own for most of the game. It was one of those, I guess, theme of the week with the field goal to end the game-winning field goal. But I think he could be a good starting quarterback for the Dolphins.
Yep, first career start almost ended up being a win. And then real quick before we move into the NFC, Broncos beating up on the Jets, 26-0, of course. The Bengals beating the Steelers 24-10. And real quick, your Bills versus Texans Week 4 predictions. I say Bills 37-17.
I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna go Bills 34, Texans 21.
Okay, that's fair. And don't go away because Sarah will be here to wrap up the NFC, so stay tuned.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service. We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Selective Service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Welcome back to Sports Hour, and Sarah's back. Surprise, surprise. So now we're going to cover the NFC. Since we got everything about the Bills and the Colts out of the way, let's cover some games that really didn't have effect on us emotionally, since we're not NFC fans.
Yes.
Okay,
True.
so the first one being another low-scoring game on this Sunday, the Falcons edging out the Giants 17-14. This is like an old-time score game, but
Yeah.
Atlanta getting the win. Matt Ryan, Matty Ice getting the win. 17-14. Daniel Jones and that offense just looks non-existent. I feel bad for the Giants.
I do too. They really are they've been really struggling, and they could do some more. They really could be like decent, but I think they've just been stuck in a rut, and because they've got some weapons, but I don't know, just things haven't been falling into place for them.
Right, and I just wonder, like, do the Giants still think that Daniel Jones is the answer? Like, this is no knock to the Atlanta Falcons, but they're not a very good team, and they couldn't score more than 14 points on the Falcons. I think Atlanta's going through a little bit of a rebuild, but that should have been the Giants' opportunity to pounce on this game and get their first win of the season. But it just blows my mind that they still think Daniel Jones is their number one quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why they haven't seemed to put any initiative into looking for something different. But I'm not the head coach or the franchise, so I don't know. Well, I don't know what to tell you, but
the Giants thought it was going downhill with Eli Manning. I'm just telling you. You ain't seen nothing yet with Daniel Jones. But Atlanta with a game-winning field goal. What can you really say about this game? Just low scoring. Wasn't really fun. I think it was like 7-6 at halftime. Kind of a boring game.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything too special. The Giants scoring to take the lead and getting the 2-point conversion to go up 14-7. But then the Falcons with 10 unanswered points just take the game. A highly defensive battle with two struggling quarterbacks, or one aging quarterback, one struggling quarterback. But this was kind of the outcome that I expected. Like a low scoring, not really a quarterback duel, but kind of a duel of the defenses, if that makes sense. But Falcons get their first win of the season. Giants still looking for their first win. They are 0-3. Atlanta's 1-2. And who knows, maybe this could bounce back. Some hope with Falcon fans. But as far as Giant fans go, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one.
Let's get into a game that was very, I would say high scoring, very fun and back and forth to watch. The Cardinals beating the Jags 31-19. I thought this was a really back and forth game. The Jaguars were taking the lead for a while in that first half, but including a 109-yard kick six return off of a field goal attempt. Nuts. This was a 68-yarder. Why on earth are they trying a 68-yard field goal? I don't know, but Jamal Agnew from the back of the end zone. It's just no time left on the clock.
Look at him go.
He's not even. That was probably the best attempt at a tackle right there, but he's basically untouched going into the end zone.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, and talk about the defense though too. The defense for the returning team, they had some great tackles to save him from, good protection to help him get down into the end zone.
Absolutely, and it looked like the first 20 yards when he took it out of the end zone, he was kind of just jogging, he's like. Am I actually going to make it to the end zone here? Let's just see how far I can return this. And then he gets to the 30, then the 40. Then you see him starting to pick up speed, 50, 40, 30. Then he just has to walk his way to the end zone from the 10 because nobody's going to catch him.
No.
But that is an NFL record, 109-yard return. That's like the very, very back of the end zone. Nobody's going to ever top that now.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to tie it. If you're going to try to top it, you're going to have to tie the record because there is no 110 yards. That's the back of the end zone, out of play. But even with that, the Cardinals still found a way to rally back and win the game. For a lot of other teams, like maybe the team I'm repping right now, if something like that happened to them, they would have been dead in the water. That would have been a complete momentum shift, and I don't think they would be able to recover from something like that. But the Cardinals found a way. Kyler Murray's good. I'm going to say DeAndre Hopkins is great. And that defense was shutting down Lawrence in the second half for sure because it was kind of getting out of hand. I think the Jags were up they're up by 7 or 10, something like that. But Cardinals found a way to win, and they made it look like a blowout in a way, but it really wasn't at the same time.
Yeah,
the game will be remembered for the Jamal Agnew return.
Of course. Even
though they lost, and a great call by Gus Johnson. I don't think we got the audio on that, but he had an amazing call. He was losing his mind.
It was awesome. Those are always one of my favorite moments watching these games. Just the announcers just losing their minds, and it's just so much fun to see something like that.
A very memorable game for Jaguar fans, but at the same time, memorable for the wrong reasons. since they ended up not even coming close to winning this game. But it was a heck of a return. Nobody's topping that record once again. Jamal Agnew, you're the man. The Panthers, though, beating the Texans on Thursday Night Football. This game wasn't really close either, 24-9. And Sam Darnold and the Panthers are undefeated. One of the only teams in the league that are undefeated right now. And the Texans, without Tyrod Taylor, are struggling. They can't seem to find the end zone at all.
No, they definitely are. He was their leader for a while, so they're just not doing the best. I mean, Mills, he had 1 touchdown and 168 yards, but that's not going to be enough for, especially in a team like the Panthers, where you got Sam Darnold, like, after moving over, he's just leading the pack, and they're just, I mean, undefeated, as you said, and they're really making a name for themselves this year.
And it is kind of a cliche with sports anchors on news shows and ESPN and everything like that. Like, all you need is a change of scenery. I think that fits Sam Darnold to a T.
Absolutely.
Like, all you need to do is switch cities. The Jets was that was a toxic team, toxic fan base that would boo him out of the building every time he played well, and they still lost, and they thought he was the reason why they lost. That just wasn't the case. All he needed to do was go to a different city. And the Panthers welcomed him in with open arms, and obviously taking it early this season, 3-0. Anything could happen. They got 14 games to go, but as of right now, if I'm betting on a Panthers game, I'm taking Sam Darnold to throw at least 2 to 3 touchdowns a game. And it is the Texans. They've been struggling with the whole Deshaun Watson thing and losing their quarterback for a couple of weeks, Tyrod Taylor with a hamstring injury. But am I surprised the Panthers didn't run the score up on them a little bit? No, because the Texans defense in the first half actually played particularly well. So you got to give credit where credit is due. The Texans defense in the first half looked good. But as far as the second half, the Panthers just ran away with it. And it was too late for Mills to make a comeback. And the Panthers on primetime TV went into Houston and got the victory 24-9. And this was the Fox Sports Game of the Week. The Rams beating up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I was telling my family, because a couple of my family members like Tom Brady. So I'm shouting you guys out. I said the Rams are going to beat Tom Brady and the Bucs. And they're like, no way, it's not going to happen. 34-24, so take that.
Brady, take it.
That.
Yeah, this was definitely a very, very fun game to watch, and just to see them show that Brady can lose a game. Obviously, we know he's Brady. He's really good, as much as we hate to say it, but still, it was just, these Rams are they're beast right now. They're looking good, and Stafford, he had 343 yards and threw for 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's the game. That's what should be a game winner, and that's what made it so fun against Tom Brady.
If Detroit had a stacked team like LA does right now, you'd be getting similar numbers from Matt Stafford like 3 or 4 years ago, because he was an elite quarterback stuck on a bad team. And I will say that he is elite because he's great. You see what he's doing with the Rams right now. When you have weapons like Akers and Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, that's going to happen. Matt Stafford is surrounded by a stacked offense.
Yes.
And so stacked, in fact, that he goes ahead and beats the best quarterback of all time. And at one point, it was 34-14, and I was getting a little bit nervous that they were going to come back and win the game, but it was a little too late, and you see all the memes of Tom Brady lowering his head down. That's never a good thing. That means that an incoming comeback is going to happen.
Yeah.
But 34-24, I think if I'm a Rams fan, I'm going to take that as a confidence boost and look at this as a potential NFC Championship matchup. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams go there, the Bucs go back to the NFC Championship game, or if something happens with Green Bay. I don't know, but the Rams are the team to beat the NFC right now.
Yes.
And it's clear as day after beating Tom Brady and Week 1 destroying the Chicago Bears, the first game where they were allowing fans at SoFi Stadium. So the Rams are definitely not a team to mess with at all.
No, absolutely not. They're definitely one that are going to be so fun to watch as the season goes on.
Yeah, and you gotta love it for that fan base too, because they were really bad in St. Louis, and then they moved cities, and for the first couple of years they still weren't that great. But now, since they got rid of Jared Goff, after they lost that Super Bowl, that I don't think they really should have been in the first place. I think the Saints should have been in that game, but the ref didn't throw the pass interference flag.
Yeah.
After losing that Super Bowl, I think this was kind of a wake-up call to the Rams front office that, hey, maybe Jared Goff isn't the guy that won a Super Bowl, so let's go out and get a franchise quarterback, and they did. Like, they gave up a lot to get Matt Stafford, but he's really paying off as of right now.
Absolutely.
And obviously, we can't say this enough, beating the best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady.
Yep.
That's just the biggest salt in the wound ever.
Yeah, not even just a team confidence booster, it's like a personal confidence booster.
And that Buccaneers defense that I thought was elite. I mean, hey,
I know.
the Colts gave up less points to the Rams. They gave up 27. The Bucs gave up 34. I don't know.
I don't know.
know.
I mean, it's only one game. They're still 2-1, the Bucs, but hey, it shows that they can be beat. So we'll take that. They're not invincible forever.
Right. And staying in the same division as Tampa Bay, we're going on to the Saints game. So sticking with the NFC South, the Saints come into Foxborough and beat the Patriots 28-13. Jameis Winston, he's not getting a lot of yards like he did in Week 1, but he's still racking up touchdowns. He looks like a completely transformed quarterback. And the Saints go on to win this game 28-13. Mac Jones is starting to struggle.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not looking too good for him. I mean, he had 3 interceptions that game. You know, 3, that's something you cannot have. I mean, you don't want any, but like 3 especially is just 3 turnovers. That's kind of the deal breaker. So, I don't know. He's really struggling, and we're going to see how that plays out.
And part of me wonders, is Bill Belichick a great coach, or did Tom Brady make Bill Belichick the way he was?
Yeah.
I will say that Belichick is not a very good coach because he was terrible in Cleveland in the late 90s when he was there. He had to bail out of the Jets system because they were so bad and he wouldn't thrive there. And then he had this certain somebody by the name of Tom Brady to get him 6 Super Bowls?
Yeah,
6 Super Bowls?
It's I think 6. Isn't he up to 7 now himself?
Yeah, well, Brady's up to 7, but he won 1 with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, exactly.
So he got Bill Belichick 6 free Super Bowls. So is he a great coach? No, I don't think he is. I think Tom Brady made Belichick the way he is.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one.
Right now, he's having a tough time developing Mac Jones. Even though it's only 3 games in, Tom Brady, when he first stepped on the scene, was great.
Yeah.
But again, he's an anomaly. But
yes, unfortunately.
I mean, Mac Jones, I'm going to say if Mac Jones looks good towards the end of the year and they make a push for the playoffs and they maybe win a playoff game, I'll take back what I said about Belichick. But I don't think he's as great of a head coach as people say he is. I think Tom Brady carried his weight the whole time. Tom Brady, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, all those guys back in the day that were great. And spying on other teams too, that could have played a role.
Yeah, definitely some sketchy things in there.
Yes.
So.
But at the same time, Mac Jones, he does have a lot of potential.
He does, yeah.
And 28-13 might be the kick that he needs to bounce back next week and try to go 2-2. And then let's just take a look at this Sunday night showdown. This was a great game. This was a fantastic game. It was looking like the 49ers were going to win this game.
It really was.
Similar to the Super Bowl where they faced against the Chiefs and you thought the Niners got this. They blow it again. And it was 28-27, a high-scoring shootout game. And Aaron Rodgers has 37 seconds left on the clock with no timeouts, ball at the 25-yard line. He's got to get into field goal range. Can he do it? And, of course, Aaron Rodgers, being the clutch quarterback that he is, got into field goal range, and Mason Crosby nailed a game-winning 51-yard field goal to send the 49ers fans home sad. And they won this game 30-28. I thought that Saints game against Green Bay in Week 1 was crazy, the 38-3 blowout. But I think the Packers are back, and Aaron Rodgers is slowly getting back to his form.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes to show that, that first game was definitely a fluke of some sort. It was probably based off all the drama that was happening off season with the Packers and everything. And I think the first week was just totally out of the blue for them. And I think this is the Packers team that we're used to seeing. And it really showed, Aaron Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things. That crazy moving down the field in the very final minutes of the game. And it's just, I think the Packers are back if they were ever really gone.
Yeah, and then finally the Monday night game before we go to a commercial break. Cowboys beating up on the Eagles 41-21. I kind of expected this coming from Dak Prescott. He wants to beat up on his division rivals in the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys 20-point win, including a pick six from Trayvon Diggs, who's the brother of Stephon Diggs. Jalen Hurts did not look good. Dak Prescott looked fantastic. That Cowboys defense looked great. And the Cowboys, up by 20, blow out the Philadelphia Eagles. And, wow, I mean, just classic Monday night showdown between two NFC East teams. And that division looks a lot better this year than ever before. So, Sarah, thank you for coming on, and we'll see you next week most likely. And Topher will be on in approximately 3 minutes to talk about what's coming up for next, looking ahead to the postseason for MLB. So stay tuned.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
You've messed up your son's haircut. Do you try to fix it? Work with what you've got? Or show solidarity?
Thank you, babe.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Había un niño que era muy sensible a luces y sonidos. Construía escondites donde no podían entrar. No le gustaba mirar a la gente a los ojos. Lo hacía sentir incómodo. Un día se descubrió que tenía autismo. Con ayuda poco a poco aprendió a vivir mejor con ello.
Mientras más pronto se diagnostique, mejor. Conoce las señales en autismspeaks.org.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job.
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
We can warn someone when their drink isn't safe.
And disrupt the situation.
We can.
Get someone a cab.
Or walk them home safely.
We can make campuses safer for our friends.
Our roommates.
Our classmates, our fellow human beings.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can. Intervene.
It's on us.
All of us.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Happy to have Topher Elkins on here for the last 20-minute segment to talk about baseball, the postseason push. A lot of teams that have already clinched, and there are a lot of teams that still want to clinch, especially the wild card. And as of right now, the wild card race is, play on words, it is getting quite wild.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now, especially in the AL. Between the three, actually, it's the four teams right now. It's the AL East and plus the Seattle Mariners right now.
I mean, the Mariners, man, where did they come from?
I know,
I
it's
believe
ridiculous.
they've won 8 out of their last 10 games.
Yeah.
They're on a 2-game win streak, and they have a minus 52 run differential. They're still in the running, just a game and a half behind the wild card, 4.5 games behind the division, behind Houston. But with 6 games left, I'm not sure if that's really possible. They have to win out, basically. Houston has to lose out for that to happen. But they are still in the running for the wild card.
No, 100% they are. And with the way every team has been playing so far within the AL, it's anyone's game. Within those 4 teams, you have the Red Sox losing 3 in a row, getting swept by the Yankees winning 6 in a row, but losing the 5 before. Like, anyone can just go on a streak for the last remaining games.
Yep, and Oakland is virtually eliminated, but technically they have a 0.1% chance of making the postseason.
Statistically they're there, but like when it actually, like realistically, it's just not.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I actually had Oakland making the postseason before in my predictions before the season started in a wild card spot, but stranger things have happened, and I've been saying on this show, the departure of Marcus Semien was the fate of the Oakland Athletics. To have your best player that would be the most clutch in maybe the bottom of the 9th, bottom of the 10th situation, to have him go to a legitimate contender in Toronto, that is shooting yourself in the foot if you're a management role in the Oakland Athletics organization.
Absolutely, especially when you're sending it to another AL team. Like, if they would have sent it to an NL contender, then you're like, okay, but no, they sent him to the Blue Jays, so they're going to be playing on a decent rate every given season, and now he's showing why he's one of the top players right now on their team.
Absolutely. I believe he was their leadoff guy before George Springer came back from injury. He's still in their top 3 of their lineup. I think it's Springer, Bichette, and Semien. That's pretty lethal for your first set of batters through the top of the order. But let's real quick go through teams that have already clinched. And those on ESPN or MLB.com, wherever you're looking, they either have an X, Y, or a Z next to their name. So Tampa Bay has already clinched 97-59, winning 62% of their games.
Right.
I expected Tampa Bay to clinch pretty early, but they're actually on pace to win more than 100 games. I wouldn't be surprised with 6 games to go if they go 3-3 and go 162. I think they're a pretty deadly team going into this postseason. They're currently on a 4-game win streak. I believe they're winning right now 2-1 over Houston. And could they win 5 in a row? I honestly think that they do. Especially when you get down towards the end of the season, Tampa Bay looks like a deadly team.
Yeah, they're definitely a team you don't want to be running into in the playoffs. Like, they're statistically the best team, and like just the way they look when they're playing, they're the best team in the AL right now.
Yeah.
And they definitely look to be, ignoring even like win totals right now, they look to be the best, like the team that's gonna make it into the World Series back-to-back right now.
For sure. And another team in the American League that has clinched has an 89-68 record, winning roughly 57% of their games, is the Chicago White Sox. They had a sizable lead in the division over the Cleveland Indians. I believe it was 11 games. And the White Sox, no surprise, plus 144 run differential. A great top of the order in their lineup. Of course, they would go to the postseason. They're not a team that I would be sleeping on either, even though they're 5-5 in their last 10 games.
No, definitely not a sleeper team, but definitely helps to clinch division when you're in a very at the moment rough division with being the Central. Like, it's just, besides those top 2 teams, everyone else just kind of falls off at the end of it there.
Absolutely. And those were the only teams right now that have clinched in the American League.
Right.
Houston, like I said before, is still looking to clinch. They're not making things easy on themselves as they have a 4-game losing streak with a number 2 as their magic number. And they have to go up against the Rays and the Athletics to close out their season. Their season ends on Sunday. I believe every team in the American League that their season ends on Sunday. But as of right now, Houston's 91-65, winning 58% of their games with a plus 205 run differential. If they win tonight and Seattle loses, they clinch a spot in the postseason. They clinch the division right there. So the only 2 teams right now in the American League that have clinched are Tampa Bay and Chicago, which is pretty insane considering that there's less than a week of baseball to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a hostile environment within the AL, and not a good. To be fair, those are not 2 of the teams I'd want to be ending my season on if I was Houston. Between Rays, who are the number 1 team in the AL, and Oakland, who looks to be getting pretty hot right now.
Yes, and Oakland, who's holding on for dear life to try to make at least somewhat of a push to go in the postseason. Mathematically, 0.1% chance of going, so less than 1% chance of them going to the postseason. But then you get into this wild card. The Yankees are currently sitting pretty on top, so they have They're first place in the wild card, 6-game win streak, plus 44 run differential, and are 7-3 in their last 10. This is the right time to get hot if you're the Yankees.
No, for sure. And obviously, being the Yankees fan, I was very tuned into that series with the Red Sox, and I came out very happy. Aaron Judge might be one of the most clutch hitters in baseball
For
right
sure.
now. Giancarlo Stanton is getting hot at the right time. He is the Stanton that we look to be trading when it happened so long ago. Those two guys are just crushing the ball. DJ LeMahieu was getting back to his average form.
Yep.
Rizzo, just a monster consistently. Voit is just clutch too. Everyone on that roster right now looks to be getting hot when it needs to happen. Even the pitching right now is actually not looking to be like a weak spot when literally last week we were talking about how the rotation is just not good. It's just how crazy they flipped the switch like that.
Yeah, and I think it was the game, 2 or 3 nights ago against Boston when the Boston fans thought it was over and they were already celebrating, and then Judge hits a home run, and then Stanton hits a home run to put the game away, and the Boston fans were sent home probably in tears because they're Red Sox fans and they cry every single time the team loses.
Yeah.
But the Yankees are a team right now not to mess with. They have a sizable, I guess you could say, lead in the wild card. All it takes is a couple games to not go their way to bump them out. But
they have it's like a 3-game swing to end up not being in any spot. So that's kind of.
And with 5 games to go?
Yeah, they just have to not blow up.
Yeah.
Like at this point, to at least secure a wild card spot, they have to not blow up. But if they want to actually get that home field wild card spot, they need to. Realistically, they want to win out if they can.
Yeah, and if they want to at least clinch a spot, I would say 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
At the very least, 2 out of 5. But you had to have other teams lose with that. So I think the Yankees, as of right now, are in a good spot. Boston is just on the inside, but they might be on the outside because Toronto is coming up on a 2-game win streak, and Boston has dropped 3 in a row. Toronto could be crawling back in this as they were just 2 days ago, 2 games out. Now they're just 1 game out with 5 games to go. Toronto is not a team to sleep on as they're actually facing against the New York Yankees right now.
Yeah, which is just crazy. Like that series is gonna end up being who makes it into the wild card spot between those two teams, unless Boston just decides to lose out and they start flipping games.
And obviously we're talking about the Seattle Mariners potentially making a run. The American League West Division title might be a stretch, but wild card is still within reach.
Yeah,
a game and a half
for
ahead,
sure.
8-2 in their last 10. But the thing that just strikes me is minus 52 run differential, and they're making a push. Like, that's the beauty of a 162 game season. You can have a run differential that's ridiculously low and negative, but still make a push for the postseason. This is what I think the American League is all about.
Yeah, like last season, you needed to have that positive run differential you had to have a decent one at that too to make sure you were in that playoff position. But this year, as long as you're winning the games that matter and your run differential can just be bad, like what Seattle's is right now.
Yeah, you can just be above average this year, and you're just on the outside of the wild card looking in, because a lot of the time with the Yankees and Red Sox that are currently in the wild card right now, they win a bunch and then they lose a bunch in a row. That keeps other teams back in the wild card race. So it ain't over till it's over. We have 5 games left to go. Can the Mariners pull off a miracle? Their last opponents are the Oakland Athletics and the Los Angeles Angels. It's possible.
Yeah, no,
it
for
is
sure.
possible.
Those are two. Oakland will be a little bit scary, but the Angels are definitely a team I'm okay with looking at the end of the year.
Yeah, Seattle was down 3-0 to Oakland last night and came back and destroyed them 13-4. So that's the crazy nature of American League Baseball right there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, obviously, moving on to the National League, it's a little bit more set in stone than the American League, if I must say.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have already clinched a wild card spot, but at the top of that division, the San Francisco Giants are 102-54. I believe they already clinched the division, and they're just winning 65% of their games, 3-game win streak, plus 197 run differential. All good things for the Giants right now.
Yeah, I don't know if they clinched the division. I know they clinched playoffs, but I think the only team I think the only team in general in baseball to actually oh, I lied. No. The only team in the NL to clinch a division right now is Milwaukee, just because they're so far ahead
That's
of anyone
right,
else.
yes. If San Francisco did, you would see the XY
Correct.
icon.
Yeah.
Yep. And if they clinch number 1, you get X, Y, and Z, so you get home field advantage. Milwaukee obviously won the division. That's a pretty weak division, if I must say, but Christian Yelich is a playmaker. Everyone on that team is a playmaker. They're very underrated going into this postseason. What do you think about Milwaukee? I think other teams should look out for them.
Yeah, I think they're kind of just flying under the radar because they're staying like consistently good compared to the teams like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and obviously the streaking St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes.
They're just there at all times. Like, they're always gonna, no matter who they end up playing, they're realistically gonna give them a challenge on any game. But they're just flying under that radar right into the postseason, and then they could easily just beat every team in there.
And Atlanta is staying, they're keeping their heads above the water here, 83-72, but they are on a 3-game win streak. They're at the top of that division with Philadelphia, who's not too far behind, but I think Atlanta has this division in the bag pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but I do think they just end up just floating in. I don't think they'll come in swinging. I mean, they're in a 3-game win streak, which is good right now, but they're just keeping, like you said, they're keeping their heads above water. They're just doing what they need to get into that postseason, and then hopefully they can do some damage.
They are missing Ronald Acuna Jr. terribly right now. After his torn ACL in the middle of July, he would be a clutch player to have right now to try to close this out and win the division. But obviously he's not there, so you got to have other teams to step up. Coincidentally, they're actually facing against the Philadelphia Phillies right now, so we'll have to see how that game turns out. It could be a make-or-break game for the Phillies, but that division is still up for grabs. We already mentioned the Dodgers clinching a spot with a 156 record. Of course, the Dodgers are going to make it. They were contenders the whole season long. Nobody was counting them out. But the streaking St. Louis Cardinals are making history not only in their city but in MLB history. They're chasing for at least 20 wins in a row here. 87-69 record, winning 56% of their games. They are on a 16-game win streak. Their franchise history, I read, was 13 games in a row. They are just making moves here. I think they're going to be the team that comes out of the second spot in the wild card. Even though Cincinnati has to be punching the air right now that St. Louis can't win just one game.
Exactly.
They're not mathematically out, but I don't think it looks good for the Reds right now.
No, it definitely does not. And St. Louis is doing everything right in the terms of they are coming into the playoffs as the hottest team. They are doing whatever it takes to win every game. And they are just going to, like, if they come in with that type of confidence and if somehow they end up just winning into the playoffs, they are going to be scary no matter who they play, purely off of that confidence factor of they can come in and beat any team in their heads. Like, I think St. Louis, if they somehow magically went out and get that 21 games or however many they have right now, that would be the team I'd be most scared of at the moment.
Yeah, if I'm the Dodgers right now, I am not brushing those Cardinals under the rug. I'm not. I'm looking at that 16-game streak, and I'm like, how do we attack these guys? Because wild card games are interesting. They're just one game, winner takes all, loser goes home. That's pretty much all it is. And St. Louis is getting hot at the right time. They've been winning 16 games in a row. That means a half a month, 2 weeks plus of winning baseball. It's pretty incredible to think that a team like the Cardinals, who we thought was out in June and July, they were dead in the water, to see some life out of them and win 16 in a row is incredible.
Yeah, it's for sure. But the one thing I will give the Dodgers is that on any given night, they can throw Scherzer on the mound, and I don't want to play Scherzer in the playoffs.
Complete domination.
It's just, I don't want to see Scherzer in the playoffs because I don't want to see Scherzer try to get a ring because that idea scares me.
Well, he is that clutch pitcher. He's that clutch guy in your rotation that you can use as your legitimate ace. And considering the fact that Bauer is not with the team as far as I'm concerned anymore, Scherzer is that guy who I think is honestly better, and he's way more clutch on the mound. With Bauer, you get some good games, but sometimes he'd blow it late, and Scherzer just has the stuff.
Yeah, Scherzer on any given night can go out and pitch you a complete game and strike out 10.
Oh,
which is
easily.
It's just ridiculous. And of course, you have that veteran experience guy with Kershaw always in the back too. He's not nowhere near as dominant as what he used to be, but he's just still always there.
Right. And fun fact though, with St. Louis, if they win tonight, or if Cincinnati loses, or if Philadelphia loses, the Cardinals will clinch a spot. They have the chance to clinch a spot tonight.
That's crazy. That's actually insane.
And technically, the only teams that are mathematically still in are the Reds and the Phillies. Their magic number is 1 on the brink of elimination.
Yep.
Other teams that have already out. This team shocked me. The San Diego Padres are out of postseason contention. That has to be disappointing for their fans, for Tatis Jr. They have a stacked roster. I don't know if it's managerial or if it's something in the higher-ups, but something is wrong with them. They were looking great in the 60-game season, but down 162, they just didn't have it.
Yeah, they just couldn't finish when they needed to. And realistically, if you would have said at the beginning of the season that the Padres were realistically they were four teams out of the wild card, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have pictured them right now as my top wild card team at the beginning of the season, just because it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, I would have pictured the Dodgers hosting the Padres.
Yeah, 100%.
And the Cardinals just barely on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm,
Or maybe the Reds. I think before the season I had the Reds just on the outside. I really kind of brushed off the Cardinals. And they obviously proved me wrong, proving a lot of people wrong, as they are approaching 20 games over 500. They have the chance to win 17 games in a row tonight against Milwaukee, who doesn't have much to play for right now. They already clinched their spot. I guess they're just trying to play for the number 1 seed, but that's still kind of a reach as well. So it's kind of a game, if you're Milwaukee, where you're like, if we lose, we lose, who cares? But if we win, we're still going for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I think they're just playing now for momentum. They're just trying to play and be like, let's win as many games as we can, get a good mindset, getting into that playoff push, and just mentally prepare for whoever we're going to end up playing.
Yeah, exactly. And 2 teams from each league that have finished in the basement, they are looking for serious renovations for next year. I believe there will be a fire sale in Arizona. 50-106, winning 32% of their games. They will definitely be in this full wipe it down, clean mode, rebuild, trade everybody, get rid of everybody, and rebuild that whole team. As I think they were the first team to get eliminated from postseason contention, 37 games behind the wild card. That is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's
Baltimore.
Just not fun. Yeah, Baltimore. I don't even think there's not much we can even say about Baltimore that we haven't said in the first 2 weeks already. Like, nothing's changed with them. They're still just that team, and not in a good way. Like, we've laid off the Diamondbacks a little bit. We've just let it into the Baltimore. So I think we can give them a break this week.
But as far as the Texas Rangers go, they are just 2 starting pitchers away, I think, from being at least somewhat contenders. Like, Adolis Garcia is good. He's probably your best hitter overall, power hitter. And Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is pretty good. But you just need a couple solid starters, because a lot of these guys that you have in your rotation right now are 5+ ERA. So I think that's the number 1 thing to target.
Agreed.
So it's going to be fun, because next week the playoff picture will be set. October 3rd is the last day of MLB regular season action, so it's going to be good. Topher, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
And we will see you same time, same place here at Hendricks Hall next Tuesday. So we'll see you then.